There's a 12-month window attached to every Social Security application. One few retirees ever hear about, and once it closes, the decision inside it closes with it permanently for the rest of your life and for a spouse's benefit along with it. Every retiree treats the day they file for Social Security as the day the number gets locked in for good, the way a pension election or an RMD does. For the first 12 months, that isn't entirely true. Filed too early out of nerves about the economy, a health scare that passed, pressure from family, or simply before running the numbers all the way through, and there's a genuine door back out. The overwhelming share of retirees never open it. Not because it isn't available, because no one ever told them it exists, and the 12 months slip by faster than anyone expects them to. I've had this conversation with retirees 8, 9, 10 months into a Social Security decision they regretted the moment they filed, sitting across from me, convinced the choice was already behind them. The surprising part, nearly every time, wasn't the rule itself. It was learning the year wasn't over yet and that there was still time to act on it. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how many months you have left if this applies to you, and the one other option available even after that window closes for good. The rule itself is specific and it's fairly generous once you know where to look. Inside 12 months of your first benefit payment, you can file what's called a withdrawal of application using a single form, approved, and the Social Security Administration treats the original filing as though it never happened at all. Not reduced, not adjusted, erased. Every dollar has to go back. Not only what landed in your own account, everything paid out on your record, including anything a spouse or a dependent received because of your filing and any premiums withheld for Medicare along the way. And it's available exactly once in a lifetime. Use it and the door closes behind you for good, even if a second regret shows up years later. The reason it's worth considering at all comes down to what waiting is worth. Every year, a benefit is delayed past full retirement age up until 70 adds roughly 8% to the monthly amount for the rest of your life and to a surviving spouse's benefit after you're gone. A withdrawal followed by a later filing does more than erase a mistake on paper. It's a way back onto that growth curve entirely for anyone who stepped off it earlier than they meant to. A man I worked with filed at 62, 7 months before we met, moved by a market downturn that had him convinced the check needed to start immediately, regardless of what it meant for the decades ahead. The downturn passed, his account recovered. What hadn't changed was a benefit locked in at the smallest number it would ever be for the rest of his life, reduced permanently for having started early. He was inside the 12-month window by 5 weeks. He withdrew the application, repaid what he'd received, and refiled 2 years later at full retirement age at a monthly benefit worth considerably more for as long as he lived, and worth more still to a spouse who might outlive him by a decade or two. A few things are worth knowing whether you've already filed or you're still deciding when to. First, if you filed within the last 12 months and have second thoughts, count the exact months remaining before assuming the window is closed. Weeks count here, not only years, and the count starts from your first benefit payment, not from the day you signed anything. Second, understand the full scope of repayment before deciding to withdraw. Every dollar paid to you and to anyone else on your record needs to be accounted for, so it helps to know that complete number in advance before starting the paperwork. Third, If you're past 12 months and still working or past full retirement age, a separate option called suspending benefits lets you pause payments and earn delayed retirement credits going forward without any repayment involved at all. It isn't the same tool as withdrawal. It comes with its own rules about who else on your record keeps receiving benefits while paused, and it's worth knowing it exists on its own terms. Fourth, before filing at all, run the decision as though it were permanent, since for most of your life it is. The 12-month window is a safety net worth knowing about, not a plan worth filing around. If you're within that window and wondering whether it's worth reversing, or you haven't filed yet and want to see what waiting would be worth in your specific case, that's a conversation worth having before more months pass. The link is below whenever you're ready. A Social Security decision doesn't have to feel irreversible the moment it's made. For a short window, it genuinely isn't. Knowing that window exists and exactly how much of it is left turns a decision made in a rush into one you still have a say over, and after that window closes, into one made with the confidence of knowing every angle was already considered months and years before the check ever showed up.